Good evening, I'm Bo Williams, and welcome to the 7. Let's get a look at the Big 7 stories right now. And topping the list for you tonight, a man pleading guilty to one count of vehicular homicide by intoxication and reckless endangerment with a deadly weapon after a child died on Norris Lake in July of last year. Norman Sturgill was one of two boat drivers when it crashed into the other. A 13-year-old boy died as the result of the collision. Today, he was sentenced to 8 years at 100% in the Tennessee Department of Corrections. Now, for the reckless endangerment charge, he was sentenced to 8 years of supervised probation, which will begin after his release. One condition of his release, he cannot operate a vehicle while on probation. TWRA and the victim's family agreed to this. A grand jury says there is reason to move ahead now with the case against a woman accused of helping her boyfriend after he shot and killed a Blount County Sheriff's deputy. The Sevier County grand jury returning indictments now against Carrie Matthews on 2 counts of being an accessory after the fact to aggravated assault or homicide. Prosecutors claim Matthews took a call from Kenneth D. Hart not long after the deadly shooting of Blount County Sheriff's Deputy Greg McCowan, pretending D. Hart was someone else and warning him that investigators were at her home looking for him. Now, Kenneth D. Hart was arrested after nearly 5 days on the run back in February. You know, we last told you about Matthews when she waived a preliminary hearing and her case was bound over to the grand jury. 2 other people were accused of being accessories after the fact in D. Hart's case, including his brother, Marcus. A carbon monoxide leak at an East Knoxville Sam's Club led to a total of 9 workers becoming nauseous and going to the hospital. According to the Knoxville Fire Department, those employees were showing signs and symptoms of carbon monoxide poisoning. After investigating and talking to the store as well as KUB, crews found a unit on the roof had recently been worked on and it malfunctioned. KFD wants to remind people that carbon monoxide is an odorless and colorless gas often associated with natural gas heating and air units. Now, this was the store in East Knoxville near Millertown Pike. Crews were on scene, we understand, for several hours this afternoon.
This is a very large building, thousands and thousands of square foot. So it took us a little bit of time to kind of pinpoint the location. This has probably been going on for multiple hours. Actually 2 people from the overnight crew reported some illness.
As of 1 this afternoon, KFD was still on scene getting significant readings from inside. Sam's Club, by the way, closed for the rest of the day today, but we understand it will likely open back up tomorrow. A stolen car crashed at Shoney's just right down the road from our station here in North Knoxville on Broadway. Officers attempted to stop the car. We're told no other cars were involved. 3 people were detained at the scene after attempting to run from the car. Now, initially, it was reported that a 4th person possibly ran from the vehicle, and officers tried to find that person, but no one was found. It is unclear if there are any other people involved who are unaccounted for. As we learn more about this incident, of course, we will share those updates with you. Continuing coverage tonight on Knoxville Mayor India Kincannon's proposed city budget, which includes stipend increases for 2 medical ranks at the Knoxville Fire Department. However, with $3.9 million going toward police department raises, some say the firefighter stipend increases pale in comparison. Now, incentive pay is being increased from $1,500 to $3,750 a year for fire department advanced EMTs and from $2,750 to $8,000 a year for paramedics. There is also $1.8 million proposed for equipment training and resources. However, Larry McAfee says pay raises for all firefighters will be necessary to increase retention, a problem they've already seen. He says they've recently lost 2 employees to Jefferson County EMS, which he describes as, quote, unheard of.
By the end of 2026, we have 29% of our workforce that can retire. We're talking 95 individuals that can leave the department. I don't know if you're aware, but it takes 3 individuals to run a fire engine on a typical day. So we're talking 31 engines plus a specialty truck of people who can just leave. That's an entire shift. So we need to do everything we can to try to retain those individuals.
McAfee also said the stipends are a good start, but not where they need to be. The budget is currently being discussed at the City Council meeting, and we will hear about the meeting coming up tonight at 11 o'clock. Anderson County Schools is sharing its thoughts on the armed teacher bill that Governor Lee has now signed into law. You know, many school districts have been opening up ever since the legislation was signed into law. Anderson County being one of the many saying safety is a primary concern for students, staff, and visitors. In a statement, the director of schools, Dr. Tim Parrott, said its county schools will not allow teachers to carry on campus, saying in part, quote, we firmly believe that the role of our educators is to focus on teaching and providing a nurturing environment for learning. By shouldering the responsibility of concealed carry, we fear that this could detract from their primary duty and could potentially introduce unnecessary risks into the educational setting, end quote. Well, preparing for the future, the city of Townsend is doing just that. The Community Plan of Advisory Committee is working on a 10-year plan and seeking input from residents. You know, we're told Townsend's community plan was last reviewed over 10 years ago. The purpose of the plan, we're told, it acts as a guidance to the city and planning commission when it comes to dealing with proposals and updating codes and ordinances for the future. City Mayor Don Prater tells us the committee is trying to balance growth while remaining the peaceful side of the Smokies.
We have a very unique character here that we're working mightily to be able to preserve and protect. We want this to be a great place for residents to live. We also want it to be a great place for our businesses and visitors as well. So we're going to find that balance.
The CPAC meets every third Tuesday of the month from 4:30 to 6 p.m. at City Hall. Prater encourages folks to attend the meetings.